see someone's success, and before you even finish reading it, before you even process what you're looking at, your mind has already done the calculation. Where do you stand in relation to them? Are you ahead, behind, falling further back? It happens so fast you don't even notice it anymore, but it's always there, this quiet, relentless measuring. Maybe you thought it was just you, that you were uniquely broken for not being able to celebrate someone else's achievement without immediately feeling smaller. That you were the only person who couldn't hear a compliment without thinking, but they got praised more. The only one who couldn't enjoy your own accomplishment because someone else did it better, faster, younger, with less effort. But here's the truth. You're not broken for comparing yourself. You're trapped in a system that was built into you long before you understood what was happening. And once you see how that system works, how it was installed, why it won't turn off, and what it's actually trying to protect you from, everything starts to make sense. Do you want to know what this really looks like? It's not dramatic. It's not a single moment of insecurity. It's the quiet, constant hum in the background of your life. It's scrolling through someone's photos and feeling your chest tighten. Not because you're jealous, but because their life is proof that yours isn't enough. It's being in a conversation where someone shares good news, and instead of feeling happy for them, you feel behind. Like you're running a race you didn't know had already started. It's achieving something you worked months for, something that should feel like a win. And the first thought that crosses your mind is, but someone else did this 3 years ago, and they did it better. People who don't experience this will tell you to just be happy for others, as if it's that simple, as if you're choosing to feel this way, but you're not choosing anything. Your mind is running a program you didn't install. A program that says your worth is not inherent, it's relative. And once that becomes your operating system, you don't experience life anymore. You measure it, every interaction, every achievement, every moment gets filtered through the same question: how do I compare? And the exhausting part? You can't turn it off. Think about the last time you felt genuinely proud of yourself. Not proud because someone praised you, not proud because you outperformed someone, but proud because you felt satisfied with what you did. Can you even remember a moment like that? For people who compare constantly, pride doesn't exist in isolation. It only exists in relation to someone else. You're not happy because you succeeded. You're relieved because you didn't fall behind. And that relief, it lasts about 5 minutes until you see someone who's ahead of you again. So where does this come from? Most people assume constant comparison is about insecurity, that you just need more confidence, more self-love, more positive affirmations. But that's not how this works, because comparison isn't a confidence problem. It's an identity problem. An identity gets formed early, long before you had words for what was happening. Picture a child, any child. Now imagine that child learning very slowly, very quietly, that love isn't unconditional, that attention isn't given freely, that worth isn't inherent, it's earned. Maybe it looked like this: a parent who only lit up when you brought home good grades, not because you learned something, but because you scored higher than your classmates. A household where your sibling was held up as the standard. Why can't you be more like them? A dinner table where achievements were the only currency that bought you visibility. A childhood where you learned that love wasn't about who you were, it was about how you performed in relation to others. And here's the part that shapes everything. You weren't told this directly. You absorbed it through tone, through attention, through what got rewarded and what got ignored. Children are brilliant observers. They notice patterns adults don't even realize they're creating. And if you grew up in an environment where worth was comparative, where being better than was the only way to feel safe, you internalized a very specific belief. I am not valuable because I exist. I am valuable because I am superior to someone else. That belief doesn't announce itself. It doesn't show up as a conscious thought. It shows up as a reflex. Someone shares their success and your first instinct isn't happiness. It's measurement. Someone receives praise and your first reaction isn't support. It's comparison. You're not choosing this. You're running on autopilot. A script written in childhood that you've been performing ever since. Let's go deeper. When psychologists study people who can't stop comparing themselves, they find something fascinating. These individuals don't have a clear internal sense of self. Their identity isn't built from the inside out, it's built from the outside in. Meaning, they don't know who they are unless they're measuring themselves against someone else. Think about that for a moment. If you removed all external comparison, if there was no one to measure yourself against, would you know what you're worth? Would you know what you want, what you value, what makes you you? Or would you feel lost? This is what psychologists call an external locus of self-worth. Your value doesn't come from within, it comes from how you rank in relation to others. And here's why that's so dangerous. If your worth is relative, it's never stable. You could accomplish everything on your list, hit every goal, achieve every dream, and it still wouldn't feel like enough. Because the finish line isn't success, it's superiority. And there's always someone ahead, someone younger, someone faster, someone who makes it look effortless while you're still struggling. And every time you see that person, the message your mind receives is the same. You are not enough. Here's the cruelest irony of constant comparison. The people who do this are often incredibly accomplished. They're high achievers, perfectionists, the ones everyone else looks at and thinks they have it all together. But inside, they feel like frauds. Because no matter what they achieve, the victory is hollow. It doesn't fill the void. It doesn't answer the question. It doesn't prove what they desperately needed to prove, that they matter. So they keep achieving, keep performing, keep climbing. Not because they love the climb, but because they're terrified of what it means to stop. Now here's the part most people don't understand. Comparison feels like a curse, but psychologically, it's a defense mechanism. Your mind isn't torturing you for no reason. It's trying to protect you from something far more terrifying than inadequacy. What's more terrifying? Invisibility, irrelevance, being average in a world that only celebrates the extraordinary. Think about it. If you're constantly measuring yourself, you're constantly doing something, you're striving, improving, working toward being better. And as long as you're doing that, you have a purpose, you have direction, you have a reason to exist. But if you stopped comparing, if you just were, what then? For many people, the idea of existing without comparison feels like death. Because comparison gives you structure. It tells you where you stand, what you need to fix, what you need to become. It's exhausting, it's painful, but it's familiar. And the mind will choose familiar pain over unfamiliar peace every single time. So you keep doing it, not because you want to, but because stopping feels more dangerous than continuing. You keep measuring because measurement feels like safety. You keep comparing because comparison feels like control. But here's what your mind doesn't tell you. You're not controlling anything. You're just suffering in a very organized way. Let's talk about what this pattern costs you, because it's not just discomfort, it's not just stress. Constant comparison steals the very things that make life worth living. It steals joy. You can't celebrate your wins because someone else's win overshadows yours. You can't feel proud of progress because progress is never enough when someone else is further ahead. You achieve something meaningful, and instead of savoring it, you're already scanning the room to see who did it better. It steals connection. Because when you see everyone as competition, you can't see them as people. You can't be vulnerable with someone when you're busy calculating whether they're ahead of you or behind you. You can't build real relationships when every interaction feels like a performance review. You stop asking, what do I want? And start asking, what do successful people want? You stop pursuing what lights you up and start pursuing what looks impressive. You mold yourself into whatever version gets the most approval, the most validation, the most proof that you're not falling behind. And in the process, you lose track of who you actually are underneath all the measuring. It steals peace. Your mind never rests. It's always calculating, always comparing, always preparing for the next evaluation. There's no moment where you get to just exist. Every experience is tainted by the question, how does this make me look? How do I measure up? And maybe the loneliest part of all this, you can't explain it to anyone. Because from the outside, you look fine. You look successful, driven, put together. But inside, you're drowning. Drowning in a sea of not enough that no amount of achievement can ever drain. And the worst part, you know it's irrational. You know comparison doesn't serve you, but knowing doesn't stop it. Because this isn't a logic problem, it's a wiring problem. And wiring takes time to rewire. So how do you stop? How do you break a pattern that's been running your entire life? Let me be clear, there's no switch you flip. no single realization that makes it all disappear. But there is a path, and it starts with understanding what you're actually looking for. When you compare yourself to someone, what are you really seeking? Safety, proof that you're not going to be left behind. Worth, evidence that you matter in a world that feels competitive. Belonging, confirmation that you're good enough to deserve your place here. These are the real needs. Comparison is just the broken tool you've been using to meet them. And once you see that, you can start finding healthier ways to meet those needs. Step 1, change the reference point. Instead of asking, am I better than them? Ask, am I better than I was? Measure yourself against your past self, not against strangers on the internet, not against people living completely different lives with completely different starting points. Your only real competition is the person you were yesterday. Step 2, define success internally. What does success actually mean to you? Not to your parents, not to society, not to the version of you that's trying to impress people who don't even think about you. What do you value? What brings you fulfillment? What would you pursue if no one was watching? Those answers matter more than any ranking ever could. Step 3, grieve what you were taught. This might be the hardest part. You need to grieve the fact that you were raised in an environment where love felt conditional, where you learned that being better than was the only way to be safe. That wasn't your fault. You were a child. You adapted to survive, but that adaptation is now limiting you. And part of healing is acknowledging what I was taught about my worth was wrong. You don't have to be superior to matter. You don't have to outperform anyone to deserve love. You don't have to win every invisible competition to be enough. You were always enough. You just weren't taught to believe it. Step 4, practice incomparable experiences. Do things that can't be measured. Create something just for yourself, not to post, not to share, just because it feels good. Spend time in nature where there's no scorecard. Have conversations where you're not performing. Exist without proving. These moments won't feel natural at first. They might even feel uncomfortable. But discomfort is how you know you're breaking old patterns. And over time, those moments accumulate and you start remembering what it feels like to just be. If you've spent your entire life comparing yourself to others, the idea of stopping probably feels impossible, maybe even terrifying, because if you're not better than someone, who are you? If you're not winning, do you matter? If you're just average, is that okay? And here's the truth that will either set you free or make you deeply uncomfortable. Yes, it is okay. You don't have to be extraordinary to be worthy. You don't have to be the best to deserve your place here. You don't have to outrank anyone to matter. Your worth is not relative. It's not earned. It's not something you achieve by being superior. It's inherent. It's unconditional. It exists because you exist. And the day you stop measuring yourself against everyone else isn't the day you become lazy or complacent. It's the day you finally start living. Not for validation, not for proof, not to win some invisible competition, but for yourself. And that's not weakness. That's the beginning of everything. Thanks for taking this mind trip with me. Until next time, take care of your mind. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share so it gets to others. I'd love to connect with you in the comments.